The crystal glass shattered against the marble floor, red wine splattering like blood across the white tablecloth. "You call this service?" Nathan Sinclair's voice boomed through the exclusive five-star restaurant, his expensive Rolex catching the chandelier's glow as he flicked the wine droplets from his sleeve. Across from him, the young black waiter, Jordan, stood frozen, his hands tightening into fists at his sides. He had served hundreds of customers at Le Magnifique, but none quite like this. I'm sorry, sir," Jordan said, forcing himself to remain professional. "I can bring you another." "Don't bother," Nathan sneered, dabbing his mouth with a linen napkin. "I knew from the moment I walked in that someone like you doesn't belong in a place like this." "What are you? Some charity hire?" A few guests shifted uncomfortably, but no one spoke up. They knew Nathan, wealthy, powerful, and utterly ruthless. Jordan swallowed hard, but before he could respond, a deep voice cut through the tension. "That's enough." Silence fell. All eyes turned toward the entrance, where a distinguished man in a sharp navy blue suit stood with an air of quiet authority that Jordan's pulse quickened. The owner. And from the look on his face, Nathan Sinclair had just made the biggest mistake of his life. Nathan Sinclair barely spared the man a glance, swirling the remnants of his wine. "And who the hell are you?" The owner stepped forward, his polished shoes clicking against the marble floor. His deep brown eyes locked onto Nathan's with a quiet intensity that sent a ripple of unease through the room. "I'm William Carter," he said, his voice smooth but firm. "Owner of Le Magnifique." Nathan's smirk faltered. The William Carter? The billionaire restaurateur who had turned this place into one of the most exclusive dining experiences in the city. William's gaze flickered to Jordan. "Are you all right?" Jordan gave a tight nod, but William wasn't convinced. He turned back to Nathan. "I couldn't help but overhear. It seems you have a problem with my waiter." Nathan scoffed. "Problem? No, just some constructive criticism. If you want to keep this place high-end, maybe hire staff who actually belong here." A murmur spread across the restaurant. Some guests looked horrified, others silent and complicit. That William's jaw tightened, but his voice remained dangerously calm. "Funny, I was about to say the same thing about my customers." Nathan's smirk vanished. "Excuse me? You heard me." William slipped his hands into his pockets. "I built this restaurant on quality of food, service, and character. You, Mr. Sinclair, don't meet my standards." A stunned hush fell over the room. Nathan Sinclair, one of the wealthiest men in the city, was being called out. Nathan leaned forward, his voice low and threatening. "Do you have any idea who I am?" William's lips curled into a smirk. "Oh, I know exactly who you are, and I don't serve people like you." Nathan's face turned crimson. "You can't be serious." William signaled to the maitre d'. "Escort Mr. Sinclair out. His business is no longer welcome at Le Magnifique." The room erupted into whispers as two suited staff members approached. Nathan's fists clenched, but he knew better than to make a scene that he grabbed his coat, seething. "You'll regret this." But William Carter only smiled. "I doubt it." Nathan Sinclair stormed toward the exit, his designer shoes slamming against the marble floor. His face was tight with fury, his pride wounded. "This is a mistake, Carter," he growled. "A big one." William remained calm, watching him with an air of complete indifference. "The only mistake would be allowing someone like you to disrespect my staff and still think you're welcome here." Nathan scoffed, straightening his tie. "You think kicking me out makes you some kind of hero? I could buy this place 10 times over." William chuckled, shaking his head. "See, that's your problem. You think money buys everything, respect, class, dignity. But in here, I decide who stays and who goes. And frankly, you don't make the cut." The crowd murmured, some guests exchanging smirks while others nodded approvingly. Nathan turned to the guests, desperate to salvage his ego. "You're all fools if you think this is how a business should be run. You don't just throw out wealthy clients." William raised an eyebrow. "Actually, I do. And since you're so concerned about business, here's something you should know. Jordan isn't just some charity hire." Nathan narrowed his eyes. "What the hell are you talking about?" William glanced at Jordan, then back at Nathan. "Jordan is part of our management training program. In a few months, he'll be running one of our locations." Nathan's mouth twitched. You're joking. William smirked. Not at all. The same waiter you just humiliated will soon have more authority in this company than you ever will. Nathan's face darkened. He was used to getting his way, to walking over people like Jordan without consequences. But now, he had been bested. One of the suited staff members stepped forward. Mr. Sinclair, this way. Nathan clenched his jaw, turning on his heel and stomping toward the exit. The doors swung open, and in an instant, he was gone. The tension in the room lifted. A slow, scattered applause began, then grew into a standing ovation. Jordan stood in shock as guests smiled at him, some even raising their glasses in silent support. William turned to Jordan, placing a firm hand on his shoulder. Don't let people like that define you. You're going to do great things here. Jordan swallowed the lump in his throat and nodded. Thank you, sir. William smiled. Now let's get back to giving these fine people the best service in town. Jordan grinned and straightened his uniform. Yes, sir. And as he walked back to work, he did so with his head held high. Because for the first time in a long time, he felt like he belonged.